Where do you see people?
Well, they would appear on there if they were. It would,
I think they would appear over here.
well, yeah, and they also would appear
If I let
in
them
another.
in, though.
Do
Don't
you
I
have to, I
I
don't,
think I have to, I'm not sure, though.
oh. So we have enough people, except we don't have an assessor. Do you have a phone number for?
Larry, no. The two that are listed on our sources are the 477 and the 476 number. I don't have a cell phone for him.
I don't have one on my spreadsheet.
Nicholas must.
That's what I'm gonna do.
I think he's still here.
Oh, you wanna go check?
Yeah.
We're waiting just a couple minutes because we need to have a quorum. We have a quorum of abatement board members, but we don't have an assessor here yet. We can meet without one, but I just wanted to, we're hoping that one of them will be here. So give us just another couple minutes. Do you know if that's, we're assuming that that's Larry?
Log on. If he logs in, right, that covers it?
Yeah, I mean, we can meet without him, but obviously it'll, yeah. Hey Larry, it's Carol Dawes at Barre City. How are you today? Good, good. Are we gonna see you or Carrie for the, Carly for the abatement hearings? Okay. Yeah, well, and you heard the discussions last week, and we just won't be able to have any of that information. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye. It's supposed to be Carly, and she apparently has skipped it, and what was this? What did that mean?
I think he had another contact number for him.
Oh, like, we got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have a quorum yet?
Yeah, we got
Oh,
12.
okay.
Jeff, you, me. Whoops, I wrote Jeff twice.
We got
We only have
Sharon.
11,
We
so
have
we're one
Sharon.
short, yep.
There are so many zeros. We did, the last day we were there.
I don't count?
Yeah.
That's 12.
Who am I missing? I've got you, me, Jeff, Tom, John, Sonia, Sam, Sharon, Tess, Amanda, Teddy. And of course, John's gonna recuse himself from his, so.
You don't have,
Oh, I don't. Rosemary. So we may have to defer on John's,
okay.
because we'll be
Yeah,
with
right.
the quorum. Okay.
Unless we get someone else, okay.
All right, we just barely have a quorum. We have 12, which is what we need. We will, to let the abatement board members know, we will likely have to defer on John's hearing, because once he recuses himself, we won't have a quorum. So, yeah, Amanda?
What's the number of city councilors that makes a quorum?
Well, it doesn't matter because we don't have an assessor. It's 4, plus the treasurer, plus the assessor. We don't have an assessor. We tried to get the right combination, but, so we do have 12, so we can move forward with with all the other hearings, and who knows, maybe somebody will show up late and we'll get to where we need to go. So, looking at the agenda, so I'm going to call us to order at 5:07. And the first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from last week's hearings. Do I have a motion to approve?
So
Okay, Sam, and seconded? Teddy?
Teddy.
Okay. And, yeah, Sharon?
I believe that meeting was recessed. It
Yes.
says at the bottom it was adjourned by a motion of people who were not present at the meeting, so I think there's.
Okay.
So, yeah, just, we need to, I know what it's like, you work with templates from previous years, so just, we'll need to change it so that it reflects that it's, that it was recessed, yeah. All those in favor of approving the minutes as amended signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay. So, we will move into the abatement hearings for this evening. An updated list was sent out to people. And I don't know whether you have it. It shows that a hearing's been added at the beginning of the list, Tobias Bernier for 527 North Main Street. So does everybody have the updated list? Okay, good. I didn't, so good for you all. You all get a brownie point and I don't. So what we will do is we will open each hearing. I will administer the oath to the representatives that are here for each requester, and we will go through the hearing sequence as is laid out in our procedures, rules of procedure. As we did last week, once we have had an opportunity to hear from the requester and then have a period of questions and answers, we will close the hearing, and then we will, at the end of all the hearings, we will move into deliberative session where the decisions will be made, and the decisions will be sent in writing to the requesters within 15 days as is required by law. So we will start the first one tonight. I lied to you, Bob. The first one is going to be Tobias Bernier with 527 North Main Street. Tobias, you can come on up and have a seat. And I'm going to give you the oath. Under pains and penalties of perjury, do you solemnly swear that the evidence you give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And did you receive information about the hearing, about the rules of procedure, et cetera?
Yes,
Okay, perfect. Do you have any questions about that?
not immediately.
Okay, there will be opportunities. And are there any members of the board who need to disclose any conflicts of interest or ex parte communications? Okay. All right, so we'll give you an opportunity to share with us what you would like to. We try to limit it to 5 minutes to start with, and then we'll have a period of questions and answers. So, go ahead.
So, being that this is my first one, just, what are we looking for, an overview, something specific?
Yeah, we have some of the information that you provided to the board. So we have your application and a copy of last year's tax bill and this year's tax bill. So you can either reiterate what was in your application or expand on it, what you think would be helpful to us to sort of set the stage to lead into some discussion, so.
Yeah, well, I'm guessing that because all of you folks are here, you're Barre City residents, are very, very familiar with the floods and extreme loss. The last two floods in 2023 and 2024. 2023 was a especially terrible one for my daughter and I, with 20 inches of water going into our first floor and destroying a great deal of property, and my former business valued computers and such. It was huge loss. On top of that, we had very little help from FEMA. We got a great deal of help from Barre Up, Barre Resource, and Youth Build in helping us get back on our feet because I couldn't afford contractors with the amount of money that we had to spend on rebuilding. We just recently got a used couch from a local charity. We were without even a couch in our house for 18 months because of the rebuilding. Having to get all the funds together. Spent with what I have for receipts that I could prove and lost time from work. I have over $55,000 worth of money that was spent down. That nets more. That's more than I net in a year for my total income. I'm here because I've not been able to pay my property tax in that time, and I'm hoping that even a portion of that can be forgiven and completed, and so I can continue living in the city. And I've been a resident here in Barre City for more than 20 years. I've lived in Barre for my entire life. I've owned my home since 2018, and my daughter and I live there. It's our first and only residence. That's
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Barre? Yeah.
Was there a period of time that you were unable to live in the house because it's flood damage, and if so, what was that? What were the length of that?
Yeah, so directly after the first flood, so July 10th, we left in the midst of the flooding, and we were able to return home. It was October, I think it was October 15th or 16th. I was able to move my daughter back to work.
That,
Yeah, go ahead, you can do a follow-up.
to that, after you moved back, was there any continuing loss of function to sort of normal parts of the house? Like, was the bathroom that wasn't working, were there systems that were not functional even though you were living there?
Yeah, I didn't have a kitchen. I was able to piece my kitchen together. I believe it was March of 2024 when I purchased a new range, and I was able to install cabinets, countertops, sink. So yeah, my entire kitchen.
Are there other questions?
Tom?
Oh, sorry, Tom?
So, Toby, you weren't living there from July 10, 23, okay, to October 15. Correct. Okay. And you mentioned in your document the damage from 2 floods.
Yes.
Okay, and of course it was 1 in 24, same date, we all know that. So, I take it, but from October 23 till now, you've been living in that dwelling
Yes.
continuously, okay. And the kitchen's been missing, but everything else is fine. I just want to be clear in my own mind.
The kitchen is
Back.
working, yeah, they have a kitchen.
Okay.
So it wasn't as much flooding for my residence for the 24 flood. We did fill my basement almost under the first floor, but it wasn't nearly as high. But it did finish off all the rest of my property that I had for my business and tools and sort of storage.
Tess and then Sonia?
No, he just answered my question.
Okay, great.
Yes,
I had the same one. Sonia?
Did any of your like electrical, heating, any of those things get impacted, and or did you have to replace all of that?
Yes, my heating system was ruined in the 23 flood, and because it was old, it was more than 40 years old, it would be replaced, which the entire home had to be updated. That was done at the end of February of 2024. And my electrical, I had to do the entire first floor and basement of my home, my entrance and panel and such that's something that was previously done before I purchased the house. That was already okay.
So your electrical panel was okay?
My electrical.
Okay. Did you move your heating system up onto the,
Yes, my heating system is on the first floor. It's the bottom of it is at 32 inches. Hopefully I missed the next one.
are there other, yeah, Tom?
I'm just maybe secrets. The form says a monthly itemized income and expense. Maybe that was submitted, but we still received it yet. Did you submit that?
I did not submit that. I did see that on the form actually this afternoon when I was looking over it. If that's something that you need, I can submit it.
Unless the board chooses to defer action tonight and bring you back for additional testimony, this is the opportunity to provide any testimony. So if they close the hearing today, then they will make a decision based on what gets presented today. So I see that you, on the form, you checked that the criteria that you were seeking abatement under is the financial hardship. Is there a reason why you didn't check the box for property was lost or destroyed? That's traditionally the one that's used when there's been damage to a property.
Probably ignorance,
Hey.
not knowing any better.
Okay.
But
But it
definitely-
certainly
definitely
would
applies, yeah.
apply, so, okay. Are there other questions for Mr. Bernier? Okay, Amanda?
Just in the interest of absolutely complete information, when your basement flooded in the July 2024 flood, were any other systems or parts of the house rendered unusable as a part of that flood? And have they been repaired, or was that simply the filling of an empty basement? And I understand there were costs in cleaning it up. I'm not saying that, but any kind of systems or structural damage?
No, all of the systems that were previously in the basement are not there any longer, so essentially it was just a basement.
And would you say that you have now lost the basement as a usable part of the house?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Just to be clear in my own mind, so we can consider this basically number 4 on the reason and number 7.
Yes.
now, okay, gotcha.
So, if there aren't any other questions, I would entertain a motion to close this hearing.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. So Sharon, and was it Sam that seconded? Thank you. All those in favor of closing the hearing signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, so we will, as you heard me say before, they will make a decision at the end of this hearing, and then you will get a written decision within 15 days. So, okay?
And wait or go?
God, you don't have to stay. The deliberative session is a closed session anyway, so, so you might as well head out, go home for dinner.
Thanks, Sharon.
Sure.
Thank you all.
All right, Bob, come on up.
All my 15 copies.
If you have them, that would be lovely. You can distribute them to the board members and a couple up here to Cheryl and me. Is this different information than what you had? Okay, then they already have, yeah.
Shouldn't have read the rules.
So just to be on the safe side, we have 2 pages from you. One is an email and the other is a copy of the last year's tax bill. Is that,
Email, tax bill, and cover.
that I don't have. So if you've got that, that would be, we can pass that out.
That way you don't.
No, we don't.
Oh, I don't have it. Huh, some people do, some
Here,
people
now
don't.
you can have 2.
I don't know.
Thank you.
Oh, maybe. Thought I had in my packets, probably in their packets that were on the table. Oh, that could be.
If you've got a couple extra, Bob. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so, Bob, under pains and penalties of perjury, do you solemnly swear that the evidence you give and the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, and are there any board members that need to disclose any conflicts of interest or ex parte communications? If not, the floor is yours for about 5 minutes.
I'm here with the Granite Museum. Back in April of 2023, we had lost our tenant at the depot, and after much discussion, we decided that rather than try to rent it out again, that we would utilize the depot for our own purposes at the museum, as we had done previously with the depot. So we sent an email to the assessor at that time, the acting assessor, and informed her what we were doing, the fact that we were April 1st of 2023, and that we would like to have nonprofit status back. She replied that there was no problem and that we didn't have to do anything else, and we thought everything was great. Unfortunately, that was the first flood came through in July, and kind of all the chaos that ensued after that. We never got any farther. Tax bills were postponed. And it wasn't until November that we received our tax bill, and it was the same as the previous year. In the interim, at the flood, the depot had been destroyed. We lost everything in the depot. We lost all the chemicals, the electrical, everything had to be torn out, the floors, and there's no way to use it for anything. So it's uninhabitable and has been so since that first flood. So based on that, we said, well, we didn't get the nonprofit status. We got the ruined shell of the building. And at that point, when we went back to the city and said, hey, what happened here? You know, and Janet concurred that she had told us that we were all set. The city encouraged us to use the abatement process to rectify the situation. So I guess we've got two things on the table. One was there should have been a nonprofit status effective that year. The other is that the building was destroyed totally in July and it has to be uncovered. That's my story.
Are there any questions from the board? Yeah, Amanda, and then Sam.
So your written statement says, the Granite Museum decided to reoccupy the depot for its own purposes in early 2023. Could you be more specific as to when in early 2023 the transition was made?
Well, I believe our tenant left in February, so we started utilizing the building for storage.
In February?
Sam?
Is the building a tear down? Is the building going to be torn down?
We hope not. You know, we had it on the market to try to see if there's anyone who's got the hoop spot to take it on and save it. But as of right now, we can't take that on. It's just not financially feasible for the Granite Museum to do it.
Is it considered a historic building, one of our landmarks?
Biggest, you know, with all the restrictions that have been put on the building as far as what you could do to it, that's, you know, at one point we had a dentist that was interested in buying the building, but they wouldn't let him bolt his chairs to the floor. That was considered a permanent fixture. And so there's all these hurdles that potential buyers have encountered that hasn't helped us.
Teddy?
And just to clarify what I'm reading on the letter, it was damaged in '23 and hasn't been used since.
Bob, so for the current tax year, the tax year that started in, you know, for the 24-25 tax year, is the building now considered tax exempt? Okay, and so the assessment is only reflective of the parking lot, correct? Okay. So what you're seeking is abatement of the taxes that were charged for last tax year, when in, yeah, okay, all right. Are there other questions with regards to this one? Okay, if not, I would entertain a motion to close this hearing. Tess and Teddy? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Okay, and Bob, you heard the procedure. You'll get a written decision within 15 days. Thank you. Okay. Because, John, you're next up, but if we have you up here, we lose our quorum.
Right.
So with your indulgence, I would say that we should defer your hearing.
Seems like that's the only
Yeah,
reasonable step we can do at this point.
yeah, so we will defer your hearing. My guess is that there will be hearings between now and the end of the fiscal year, so between now and the end of June, and we'll make sure that we have a quorum and get you taken care of at that time. So I apologize.
Not, if people showed up, we'd be doing it, so no apology on your part necessary.
All right, so next would be Antonia. So this is 41 Jake Street.
I don't have 15 copies, unfortunately, but
It's okay.
There's one, I added some like exhibits, is what I call them.
Okay.
Is there one person that can?
You can just hand it to a member, they can pass them around, and then we'll have it to refer to at during the deliberative session, so. So, let me see here, whoops. Okay, we actually have 11 pages in our packet, so we probably have most of this anyway, so. Okay, so, I'll administer the oath. Under pains and penalties of perjury, do you solemnly swear that the evidence you give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Okay, fantastic. Are there any board members who would like to disclose any conflicts of interest or ex parte communications? All right, so, as you heard me say before, we try to keep your presentation portion to 5 minutes, and then we'll open it up to questions, so.
I just wrote this up, and it's a little different than I think I saw this one, had one of the letters that I had written, which I actually refer to this, but I'll just read kind of how I summarize the situation. So I'm presently seeking abatement for the property tax penalties and interest accrued concerning the property located at 41 J Street, Barre. I'm requesting this abatement based on case 3, persons who are unable to pay their taxes, charges, interest, and collection fees, and on case 4, taxes in which there is a manifest error. I might have read that incorrectly. Summary of situation. I purchased the property at 41 J Street on September 28, 2023. I never received a tax bill from the previous owner. However, when the sale was negotiated on Realtor.com, the website, I received 2022 property taxes of $11,585. I received my first notice of the delinquent taxes only after one of many visits to the city clerk's office on April 19th, 2024. By that time, there was nearly $6,000 in tax and $750 in penalties and interest. I paid my outstanding property taxes in full on April 22nd, 2024, so that was less than 2 business days after finally receiving this balance owed. I requested an abatement for the penalties and late fees that same day and received confirmation of my request on April 23rd by $12. The explanation of my situation is that it was a commercial property at 41 J Street, and it was rezoned to a single-family use effective on the day of my purchase, so September 20th, 2023. Based on the 2022 tax year document that I saw online, I was aware that the annual tax amount was very high due to both the commercial classification and the presence of a 60-foot antenna previously located at the property, which I never saw, but I know you're probably familiar that it was a radio station. Because the property would not be able to be classified as a homestead for tax reasons, at least until April, I knew my property taxes would be very elevated for the first year and tried to budget accordingly. Please bear in mind that I had the misfortune of arriving in Barre from overseas the summer of 2023, right after the historic floods that were devastating to your region and your residents. Housing was already tight in Vermont, as I learned before the floods, and it seemed downright impossible that past year for modest incomes. Throughout August and September, I would outbid on many of the homes, for example, with buyers including a $100,000 escalation clause in addition to purchasing cash. Since my mother was footing my temporary housing bill and I was awaiting the arrival from France of my oldest son, spouse, and 2 dogs, it was urgent to find a place to live. High property taxes, at least temporarily, seemed the best option. I repeatedly visited City Hall and various town clerk as well as property plans and the assessor's office. It's probably not the correct title of it, but it's the one across the hall. Simply because I was coming from overseas and didn't know how taxes really work here in the US or in Vermont. They're mailed to us where I was living before, and I learned that that would probably be the case here. I learned that I could get the property reassessed as soon as a new assessor was hired, and that my tax bill payment notices would be sent by mail. So I kept waiting and continued to visit City Hall, but by April 2024, I was concerned that I still had not received any notice of anything by mail. On April 19th, this is when I went to the city clerk office again, and Ms. Dawes very kindly printed off what I include as Exhibit A, which shows the taxes that were owed as well as the late fees. So that was at that moment that I understood why I had not received any tax collection information, no late notices, no penalty warnings. The property was still listed as belonging to GER Holdings LLC at 106 North Main Street in West Livermore, New Hampshire. So I can only assume that any of those notices would have been being sent to New Hampshire. To this day, my tax penalty and interest letters are still addressed to GER Holdings LLC, although someone has added in care of my name starting in April 2024. So in conclusion, despite my repeated visits to City Hall trying to figure out how I could pay my property taxes, I never received the notices. If they did exist, they must have been sent to the previous owner. All in all, there was a delay of 5 months on the first payment and 2 months on the second payment. And after 2 days that I received those printouts, I paid the full outstanding tax amount minus the penalties. So this was already a huge financial burden for me that I had budgeted for, but I simply could not add on as of several hundred more for an administrative error. I also filed a request for abatement, and I received the confirmation on April 23rd. I am a single wage earner for a family of 4. The $1,000 in interest and penalties that have accrued while awaiting these 12 months is money needed for other things, food, gas, electricity, water, and the summer months when I'm unemployed. For these reasons of error and financial hardship, I request the penalties and late fees be waived. As attachments, you have the things I mentioned, and just today I went to TD Bank and received printouts of my balances of checkings and savings. So basically, I would need that to pay the next property tax bill that arrives to not be delinquent on my taxes. I'm basically just requesting that the penalties and fees be waived.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Amanda, I can't quite see your hand, but you had this, I look askance question, so yes, go ahead.
I would, and this is maybe kind of an assessor question, but it may be something that you can ask. We have 2 tax bills here. With 2 different assessments of the property.
They're different years. If you look in the upper left corner under the black box that says tax bill, you'll see that it says tax year 2023 and the other one says tax year 2024.
Thank you. And can you please re-clarify for me when you purchased the property?
Actual purchase went through on September 28th, 2023.
And it was your understanding at the time that it would be rezoned to the single family use at the time of purchase?
Well, I was told that it was going to be rezoned. That's actually not the problem. I did know that that first year was going to be very high. In fact, I spoke with Carol Dobbs, who explained that it wouldn't go into effect until April, even though those taxes on the property were much more linked to like the antenna and other things that were there than the actual building itself. So that it was then reassessed as soon as it could be with the new assessor. And if you look at the 2 different tax bills, you can see that there's a difference of almost like 4,000. But I mean, we were already aware that the first year would be very expensive, and so we budgeted for that. We just hadn't budgeted of not receiving the tax bill or the request to pay, and to then get like over $1,000 in penalties and interest.
Did you have another question?
Thank you.
Yep.
Following up on that.
Yep, go ahead.
The material conditions that made the assessor revisit the property value in April of 2024, I'm getting the timing right on that, were the same as existed at time of purchase, the antenna was gone and everything like that, it just took them a while to catch up with the assessment?
That's my understanding.
The rule with, the law with regards to assessments is that they are based on the condition of the property as of April 1st every year. So as of April 1st of 2023, the property was still a functioning radio station with an antenna. And so that tax status and assessment carries through with that upcoming tax year. So the assessment on April 23rd led to the assessment for the tax bill that was 23-24. And then Antonia had come in and talked with me and talked with the assessor's office about having the property reassessed. And so they went up and reassessed it in advance of the 24-25 tax year. So, Sonia.
Are you still not receiving tax bills?
No, then I know how it now. It's just that it's addressed to GER Holdings, but then it says in care of me, so it's coming to me. Whereas the first one, actually, I think it went to that address,
Okay, so you are getting them now. Okay, thank
and
you.
I've been on time.
Okay, thank you.
And if you look at the 2024 tax bill, it does have the correct address on it. Again, the way the law reads is that properties bear the name and address of the owners as of April 1st. Berry City does mail them to the owner of record as of the beginning of the tax year, but it has to reflect the owner as of April 1st and then care of the new owner. Are there other questions? Okay. I would entertain a motion to close this hearing. Sam and Sharon, second. And all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Okay. Antonio, you heard you'll get a written decision within 15 days. Perfect, thank you. And do we have someone here representing 5 Cordy Street?
I don't see anybody.
Okay. We do have the materials, which you had in your packet. She's asking that her taxes be lowered. I'm writing this hike in taxes with my backyard full of mud and the seller that needs help. We can't even sell it now. We have no children in school and the rent I am paid barely pays for obligations. We are 70 years old and stuck here. I'm healing from hip surgery, so there is only my husband. What is our next step? And then there's an email wondering how we can lower our property taxes. And then there's a copy of the 23 tax bill, the 24 tax bill, and the Lister card, or the photo. So is there any discussion with regards to this property? I know, because I note that the difference that there's no difference in assessment between the two tax bills. However, the second tax bill, the first tax bill says it's a 4-apartment building and that that a portion of the property is used as the Hull's homestead. That is not indicated on the current tax bill, but they still have that as their mailing address. So it's, we're unsure as to what the situation is with regards to the property. We don't know whether they brought this to the attention of the assessor's office or haven't. It certainly looks like they haven't done any kind of request of the assessor's office to reduce their taxes. It looks like this is their request to do that. And the date on the email was, wait a minute, August 24. So I might suggest that we defer this until we can have the assessor at least here to give us some additional information. Do we, Amanda?
May I also request the survey we developed to assess flood damage as part from the previous hearings be sent to them to fill out so that we can get a better sense. There was a description of some of the damage in the letter, and I'd like to know more. If they're not able to attend a hearing, we could at least work with that. Thank you.
Is that acceptable to the rest of the board?
Yeah.
Okay. So moving on to the next one. Do we have a representative here from M&S Properties? Come on up. What's your name, sir?
Stephen Manning.
What's the last name again?
Manning, M-A-N-N-I-N-G.
Okay. Just open that up. Okay, so I'll administer the oath to you. Under pains and penalties of perjury, do you solemnly swear that the evidence you give and the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Thank you. So share with us what you would like to. We do have the packet of information. We do have your application and a copy of last year's and this year's tax bill. So anything else you'd like to share?
I am very ill prepared. We just got back from vacation today and I got the letters today. I guess basically the property we purchased came upon it organically. There's a lot of damage done to it. The lady was scared of doing the work because it's pretty extreme. It's right there on the belt line. It's a 6-unit lead zone. We had just rehauled one on 3rd Street right before this. And I was saying I was gonna have to do some work with it. I didn't realize it was still assessed at what it's assessed at. I guess when I bought it, I figured that would have been adjusted to all the damage that was done to it. But I guess I'm asking for a little assistance just to remodel the building, to raise the grand list, probably $500,000. So we're putting about $300,000 in remodeling the whole thing. I guess that's it. If I can't get nothing out of it right now, we're stuck sitting there with it. I gotta do the work to get along. We're doing that right now. I'm in the process. It should be finalized this week. And hopefully start construction within a month. We did raise the other one up from 90,000 to 330,000 as well.
And you said that there are 6 units in there? The tax bill says 5, so it
There was
just,
5 people living there, but I was told it's zone 6. The 3rd floor is not utilized, it hasn't been, but it's got to be used. And I'm putting stairs out back. I'll obviously go through an inspection and all this stuff with,
Yeah.
net and whatnot, but that's the goal. Either way, it'll be at least 5 units.
okay. Teddy?
Thank you. Sir, can you just clarify when you bought the building?
July last year?
July 24th?
Yes.
Okay. And so I'm seeing.
We finished everything right before the flood.
Okay.
The second flood.
Yes. And was there any damage from the second flood?
Yeah, we took the mud out. It was already uninhabited by that point, so I can't say how much is different, really from what it was prior.
Yeah.
But we will be raising everything up. We did the same thing, so we're prepared this time more than we were before to do it.
Sure.
And my grandmother used to live that building, that's kind of the main reason I bought it.
Oh. So I'm seeing an assessed value in tax year 23 of around 300,000, and then an assessed value in tax year 24 of 167,000. So it seems like it was adjusted after the 23 flood, but not necessarily.
I just had unhabitable, I didn't really use this.
And unfortunately, we don't have the Lister card, so we don't know what the value of the land is as opposed to the building, so.
And it does have a kink too, the property out back, water runs through under our basement, which is kind of kinky.
the water line that feeds the property behind.
Which did freeze this one.
Amanda?
So just to clarify, the property has been uninhabitable since the July 2023 flood?
Correct.
And you don't anticipate work even starting until next month?
We had a bunch, basically the bank wanted a bunch of money more down to do the construction loan. If I waited 6 months to a year, the value of the house would be, you know, the down payment rather than have to come for more. The last one went 80,000 above the insurance plan, so I took it out of my house, which this is what I'm trying to do anyway, but I was trying to get the construction loan with the value of the home. We have plenty of other stuff.
Have you talked with the assessor's office about having the assessment reduced even more than what has already happened?
So I probably should have, out of not knowing what to
Yep.
do, this is what I did.
Okay.
Still learning a lot of this, we've done quite a good amount of buildings, but I'm still, you know, we've
Yep.
done it in the last 5 or 6 years, so a lot of it's still new.
The Board of Abatement does not have any authority to change the assessment on a piece of property. So that would be the purview of the assessor's office. And then if somebody wasn't happy with what the assessment was set by the assessor's office, they could then come to the Board of Civil Authority to see about a change in value. But that this body is only able to make a change in the amount of taxes being billed. It's a distinction without, you know, it's like whatever, but yeah. Okay.
Basically, my thing was I can't get any money out of it at this point. I'm doing it to help the community, help that, and help myself, but paying the taxes until it's habitable was a hard thing to do, so I was asking for a rate on that basis.
Yep. Are there, Teddy?
And just all that being said, I would suggest you call the assessor's office in the morning to offset this happening next year.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll be done by then. No.
But you're not done now, and the value, as you heard me say before, is based on the condition of the property as of April 1st. So you could actually have a year of a considerably lower value if it's based on what it's in, the condition it's in now. So it's definitely worth you contacting the assessor's office to have them come and look at the property and assess it, okay? Because that would buy you some time, so. Are there other questions for Mr. Manning?
I appreciate the guidance.
Not a problem. We try to remind ourselves and the people making the requests that we're all neighbors. So we're trying to look out for each other. So do we have a motion to close this hearing?
So moved.
Jeff and Sam? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Okay, and so Steve, you heard that we'll send you a written notification and call the assessor's office tomorrow.
Thank you guys very much. For your
Have a good one.
Have a good night. And your service.
And now Coralie Walters, and I don't believe there's anybody here for 113 Hill Street. We still have 12?
That's why I was like, I hope not. 'Cause then-
Yeah, exactly. 'Cause then we're in trouble. Okay. So, in her application, she said on July 5th, there was a fire that damaged the structure. And it's a little unclear from here, but I was talking to Cheryl, it's,
She wants to abate the 3 months she was out of the house, the taxes for the 3 months she was out.
okay. Okay. So are there any questions or comments, discussion before we'll obviously discuss it more when we're in deliberative session, but Teddy?
I'm just curious, sure, Have you spoken to her? Is that how you?
Yes. Yes.
Is
When,
there anything else from that conversation
when I
that you
spoke,
think we should know?
when I initially spoke with her back in November, she had said that, you know, she was struggling to pay the taxes because she was paying to be housed somewhere else for the 3 months while her home was being repaired enough for her to move back in. There was a lot of smoke damage. And her bedroom is actually right above the area where you see the most charred.
Any other questions? Okay, I would entertain a motion to close this hearing. Sam? Who said
I thought
second?
I heard,
Amanda.
okay.
Motion, Sam.
Oh, okay. Amanda Sam.
It's confusing things.
It sounded like, Sam was looking directly at me.
I thought she said both.
And it was doing this sort of ventriloquist thing.
Yeah, you responded, Sam.
Okay, anything else before we move into deliberative session? Okay, I would entertain a motion to move into a deliberative session, and I will look at Tess. Tess raised her hand. Now, who gets, and Sharon gets the second. And now we will move to around the table. We'll pull the table out so we can. Aren't your feet cold?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Some musical chairs, if there isn't a chair for me, I can go.
And actually, I'll have Cheryl share her exchange with Lee about needing to, or not needing to Zoom these meetings.